So we
Got it.
don't, we don't want to miss a second of this banter.
Oh, I know. We got to capture all the good banter. Ah.
My hair is weird right now. I don't have a brush in here.
Oh no, you
Doing?
don't brush.
The brush is out in the hallway.
Oh, well,
Oh.
that's really unfortunate.
I know I was a little bit late today, but I was making stickers. I lost somehow the last time we did a show. I Dave lost my buses here stickers.
Oh no.
They're all missing, so I had to make a new batch.
So your bus isn't here.
Yeah, I missed it. Missed my bus.
Someone's gonna find a pile of your buses here stickers. What
I
is
know.
it? I don't get it. Or they're just gonna think you're being an asshole.
I told that joke last night and went over really well. And Andrew is always so proud. He'll always say they liked me.
Yeah, it's like when you tell that joke, he becomes the star of the room and he just soaks it all up.
He does love that.
I love sitting next to Andrew during your shows because he loves watching you on stage. And when you start talking about that part where it's about him, he's like, he starts doing that thing with his finger where he's like, that's my joke right there.
Well, and then like there are other jokes that he has memorized.
Yeah, he'll start telling them.
So he tells the joke, and we always forget. I had Dave and Andrew sit up front so that Dave could monitor the camera.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to get some footage. That's never a good idea.
Oh, because can you hear Andrew on the camera?
No, it's distracting. So then when I do the ball joke or something, everybody's staring at Dave,
Yeah, that's fair.
Makes it a little weird. And then at one point I'm in the middle of the joke and I'm trying to like monitor to tell him, how my camera shuts off every 20 minutes sometimes.
Yeah.
And I was trying to motion, like turn the camera back through me.
Welcome to another episode of
Scrutiny with Cheri and Andy.
I'm Andy Vargo, and this is my bestie,
Cheri Hardman. We decided to do something.
Yeah.
Andy Vargo and I will do anything for attention.
Yes, we will.
I'll tell you what I did. My nails, my hair, and my nails, my hair.
You gotta give yourself credit for all the things you do.
I'll tell you what I did later.
Now I don't know when it'll happen.
Earlier. And we're here to discuss my nails, my hair, and
Being the best at no matter what it is that you're doing. Now I don't know when it'll happen.
Anyway, hello, Andy.
Hello, Cheri. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I am pretty excellent. I'm a little bit dragging a little bit right now because I'm kind of like I've been going all day and I got here to record and I'm gonna be going later, so I'm gonna take a little downtime after this just to reset. But as soon as I saw you, I just was filled with energy. I'll tell you.
Aw, that's so sweet. I've been really busy today myself.
Yeah.
I have, I'm not going to work because of Andrew's day program.
Yeah.
So Dave's going to stay home with him tomorrow, so I have to go back to work, whatever. But I just had this list of stuff I needed to do as far as promoting, making flyers, sending out booking requests, just a ton of stuff. And I came in here and just nailed a bunch of it.
Yeah, that was so cool. I think before I even got out of bed, I got a message from you saying, I'm already in my office. And I'm like, I
literally I literally got out of bed, went to the bathroom, and then just dragged my pajama ass in here and started working.
Yeah, sometimes that's just what you have to do. I had to get my hair cut at 10 o'clock, and that was kind of a weird time where on another day I could have gotten up and done stuff first, but I closed last night, so I didn't get home till I wasn't home and in bed till 1:30. So I wasn't going to try to push it too hard this morning, knowing that I was going to be out hosting karaoke again tonight. So I was like, okay, so I have this hair appointment at 10, so I'm just going to try to do everything after that. But today I did that, and then I went to the coffee shop and I sat down, and the one thing that I had to do was really just take out my notebook and open up my email and my messenger and my LinkedIn messages and just write out what needs to be followed up on and organize it. And some of it was, okay, do this today, do this tomorrow, so that I could get it on paper and make sense of all the craziness in my head. And that felt good. That was, I only crossed off a couple things on the list, but just getting the list was a huge accomplishment.
Well, your hair looks spectacular, by the way.
And thank you, because it was getting so out of control.
I know that feeling. Hey, I want to complain about something.
Yes.
I want to see if this happens to you. Okay, so I hate making phone calls. I think a lot of people do. Doesn't even really matter what the phone. Yeah, it's a signal. Did you catch that? I think a lot of people these days, especially post-pandemic, don't like making phone calls. So I always dread those on my list of chores.
Okay.
And so I've been putting off. Andrew needed a doctor's appointment and the dog needed a groomer appointment. But when I tried to make Andrew's doctor appointment before, they needed his medical card, which I thought was in his wallet, which he carries on him. So I couldn't make it. So finally he was home, I was home. I went to call them and then I got his wallet from him and there's no medical card in there because he lost his wallet a while ago. And that was one of the things that got lost. So then I'm like, okay. So now I got to think, how do I get a new medical card? So then I got to like Google.
There's another phone call.
And so then I call and the thing is like, you can order a new card online. And I'm like, well, so then I put the phone down, get online, find the place, order the, printed up the card. I was able to do it from home. That was great. Get it all ready and go to call the doctor's office to make the appointment. Nobody answers the phone. No answer machine, nothing.
Frustrating.
Well, fuck, all that was just wasted right now because now we got to wait for the next day when it's
for business
all works out. And it's not like it's an emergent appointment. It's just an appointment.
No, but all of that energy of reaching out to 3 different places, to getting online a couple different times, to the waiting each time.
And then it's like I can't cross anything off the list because it didn't happen. But then I'm like, okay, well, I'll call the dog groomer. Same thing. Call the dog groomer. Nobody answered. I was able to leave a message though. So they will probably call me back in about 3 days.
And we forget to give ourselves credit for the fact that the phone call might only take 5 minutes each, but the amount of time that we're devoting in our focus, it's in the back of your mind this whole time. So it's actually like, it's like it's occupying a lot more of your mind space and focus than the time that it takes to do it, which is why the sooner we can cross them off, the better. But right. I'm not that. Like, I actually don't mind talking on the phone. I'm happy to be talking with a friend on the phone, but actually making a call for those kind of things,
right.
I don't.
Yeah, I like talking to you on the phone. I like talking to my friend Tracy on the phone. I love talking to my husband on the phone. Period. End of sentence.
End of sentence. No, and that's the thing. I came to this realization. Like, let's say someone leaves me a voicemail, or a voicemail comes in on my phone, and I know that it's something that I don't want to deal with, right? And the voicemail is sitting there, or even something that I already dealt with because I called the person back, but the voicemail still sits there. And on my phone, it just, the little icon shows that there's a voicemail. What I've learned is, if I don't call and clear it, then every time I see it, it's a reminder. And so I'm re-experiencing that stress or that discomfort, however you want to word it.
Right.
So it's like, instead of experiencing that for 4 days, why don't I just clear it right away? So now as soon as a call comes in or I see I have a voicemail, I try to clear it as fast as possible so that I don't re-experience that feeling of discomfort. I'm not always that good at it, but it's like, why keep putting myself in that mind space of negativity?
It's replaying it over and over again. Yeah, well, here's another thing. And this is just, I know I'm an asshole in certain situations. So the other day, was it just yesterday already? It was just yesterday that I was at work. The bus calls like, where are you? We're trying to drop Andrew off. I'm like, well, he's supposed to be at his day program. So the day program never called and told me they were closed.
Right.
It was
so
just
the bus already picked him up.
The bus picked him up in the morning. I think he's on his way to the day program, but apparently he wasn't.
And clearly they didn't call the bus either.
Yeah, so I had to leave work, go home and wait for him to now show up because they kept trying to drop him off. I'm like, I'm not home yet. And so then they take him on the next run.
Yeah, go drop off
So
everybody
it
else.
took quite a while for him to come home. But then what the day program does so they can continue to get paid is when they're down, they do these well checks on the people to call and see how they are. Well, we're like napping, we're watching TV, we're doing whatever we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, when they call, I have to go get Andrew, and it's like, I know he's well.
Right. And also you could have decided to go for a scooter ride or other adventures since he's home for the day. Right?
And it just irritates me actually that they're making me miss work and then they're going to bug me so that they get paid.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that they're just doing their job and that's the way it has to be. But I do find it irritating, so I wanted to complain about it.
That's fair. I think sometimes you just got to have a bitch list.
Other than that, though, I'm groovy.
Good. Well, you look groovy.
I have a new shirt on. It's unfortunate that you can't.
I could just see the top of it, and I didn't remember seeing that shirt before.
It's garbage. I think I'm paranoid.
Oh, funny. Okay.
You have to know the song to understand. But you should go watch the song sometime. The video, the band is garbage. The song is, I think I'm paranoid. And I think it's a really awesome and amazing song.
I'm gonna check that out later.
Sure.
Add it to my to-do list.
It's old. It's an old song. It's not like a new song, but yeah, do it. Do it. Do it.
So you
go ahead. What?
You got a show last night?
I did. Cole Street Brewery.
That's
fun as always. That room is always fun. Marcus Van Valen was the host, and Lynette Manning.
Yeah.
Was the feature.
Good room. Yeah. I don't think I've seen Marcus before. But.
Yeah, he's pretty new, and he did a great job. And
then that's
I got to pick on Brandon from the stage.
Nice.
During my sexual mind reading.
Oh no.
I had that one already planned. I'm like, oh, I'm going to say this. I forgot to warn him though.
That's kind of fun when you know the people that are going to be in the room and you can ahead a little bit.
So I'm hoping that it made it onto the video.
On a good video. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such a good, one thing that Brandon does such a great job of is during the show, he's posting pictures. I noticed that the last couple, I always have noticed him doing it, but that I've noticed it's different with him from other producers is like right when the person's on, he's like, Cheri teaching this room a lesson.
Right.
Oh, Mark is getting this room started out right. Lynette, getting a laugh. Like he always has.
Could have said Cheri was being funny, but no. I do teach a lot of lessons during my set. I do. No, but there were some real fun people in there. There were a couple difficult people in there. Mm-hmm. But I kind of was able to get it back at him. That sexual mind reading is wonderful for that, by the way.
Nice.
If you don't like somebody in the audience, you can, say,
like, well, by the way, don't think you're getting away with especially because every time I see you do that, the reaction of the friends around the person is hilarious because they're always like, oh, she nailed you. Whether the person agrees or laughs or not, the rest of the room is like, oh, that's perfect.
No, but it was fun, and there was a lot of people that came up and talked to me afterwards, and
good.
It was a good time. But then driving home,
let's hear.
There was a huge thunderstorm going on up here.
Oh wow! Okay.
And not in Enumclaw or Auburn, so we could just see like we're heading, and it was weird because it was still sunny there.
Okay.
You could just see this black cloud of death just over Federal Way. And all this lightning show and everything. It was actually kind of interesting to be like, we're heading into it now.
You're going into the apocalypse. Like, we got this.
That's what it felt like. So that was cool.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
You've been hosting a karaoke and stuff like that a lot.
Yeah. So I had karaoke on Tuesday. I have it again Thursday, possibly next Tuesday. I'm not sure yet. Regular guys are out, and there's a few of us that do it at the Otter, and so it's fun. I like doing it. It's just making for a long week because now I've been there like every day this week, which is I love the place, And that's why I just felt a little scattered on my own stuff, where I'm like having to go, okay, how do I table what I can table, follow up a little bit on things so that I'm not, letting any balls drop, and then make sure I get the big things done on my business so that I can give that the focus it needs this week. But yeah, it's fun. We had a really great crowd on Tuesday night. Last night we had trivia. I don't host the trivia, but I ended up picking up a shift there. And then tonight we got karaoke again down at Otter. And then next Tuesday I'll be hosting the open mic down at TCC at Tacoma Comedy Club. So that's going to be
fun. I'll probably, if I don't think I have anything, I'll be able to stop down and
nice.
watch.
Yeah,
hang out.
I signed up for the mic in April, and then I didn't get any spots. And then I realized I don't think I finished. When you're filling out the form, you have to hit, I don't think I actually hit the submit button. And I was like, oh, bummer. But I also filled it out like at the very end. And I knew that I was like right on the cusp of being. So at first I thought, oh, maybe I didn't get it in time, which was no big deal. Like, I knew that I was on the fence. And then when I did it for May and I hit the submit, I was like, I don't remember pushing that, like getting that like finalization thing. So I was like, yeah, I don't think I actually did it right the last time. So it was a nice surprise when they had me set up to host, because that's always fun. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that will be fun. And you'll get to see probably a lot of new people that you haven't seen.
Yeah, there were a lot of names.
There's a lot of new people. I don't know any of those names.
Yeah, there were a lot I didn't recognize. And so that's kind of fun to see. And then, whoever else might show up that is, putting their name in the bucket. So there were a couple names I recognized. And so I look forward to seeing them again.
Cool. I think I shared this twice on accident. Well, I made a new poster today. I know you saw that.
I saw that. I shared it because there's a show coming up in June.
Yeah, so there's some good stuff coming up.
Yeah, I've got a couple shows on the books for June. I shied away from booking stuff in February and March because I had so much going on, both personally and professionally, that I just didn't want to dilute my focus on either side. And so I started kind of thinking, okay, it's time to start getting back out there a little bit. And people plan their motivational speaking stuff far enough ahead in advance that if I'm getting booked on a show, it's not going to conflict. So yeah, I'm excited.
Cool.
What you got coming up?
Well, I have a dermatology appointment next week.
Oh, that's exciting. Are you selling tickets to that?
On the 12th, I'm doing a show with Amanda Arnold.
Oh, fun.
Travis Simmons. It's at a pizza place.
Okay.
Chi-Town Pizza or something in Tacoma.
Oh, yeah. I saw the flyer.
So that'll be fun. I haven't worked with her in a while.
Yeah.
I know I've worked with her before.
You said that's in Tacoma. Oh yeah, it's out on Pacific Avenue.
Yeah.
Yes. I saw that because I thought that looks good. I've not been there, but
yeah, that'll be fun. He said they have good deep dish pizza, so I'm not against pizza in any way, so
neither am I.
Which, by the way, I don't know if anybody else out there is into this, but it's that time of year when Papa Murphy's has taco pizza. So
okay.
It only comes around sometimes, and now
I didn't know that. I struggle with food that tries to pretend to be other food. Like if I'm going to have tacos, I want them to be tacos. And if I'm going to have pizza, I want it to be pizza. This taco pizza, breakfast burritos. Oh, I don't know what I'm eating. It's very confusing. Like just be the food you're supposed to be. Cheeseburger pizza. Ugh. Like
yeah, that doesn't sound, but it's probably delicious.
Pizza.
It's probably delicious. So, but
I mean, if you put any kind of pizza in front of me, I'm gonna eat it. But it's just, I don't know. I just don't know what to do with my taste buds in those situations. It's very confusing. So anyway, so you can have all of the Papa Murphy's Mexican pizza you want.
That's cool. Also, I am booking a lot of Diary of an Ex-Ho interviews.
Yeah, and that's been taken off. I
As
didn't watch the
I'm,
second one yet, but the first one I loved.
yeah. So episode 2 came out. It's doing really well too. Episode 1 is still getting views.
Yeah, that is awesome.
And so
Like right out the gate, just took off.
I've already got 2 in the, what do you call it?
In the hopper or ready to go.
Yeah, I don't know the word, but yeah, 2 almost ready to go, or at least like 2 already done.
Yeah, recorded and just
And
ready.
then I've got like 3 more scheduled. So
Nice. That's cool.
that's good. But then I realized if I'm doing this every week, I'm like, I gotta stay on top of it, you know.
Yeah. At least you're getting close to the school year ending forever.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
I'll be
I
playing
actually
some Alice Cooper that day for sure.
yeah, that's gonna have to be a special episode. we I was in my quest to get things on track today, and I was listing what I need to do, and I'm like, oh, I was like, I knew I had 1, maybe 2 episodes that I needed to edit and get out there, because I was really good about putting time on my calendar the day I record or the day after to edit, and that just kind of went sideways the last week or so. But I recorded, I want to say, within a week I recorded 3 episodes, or within a week and a half I had 3 on the calendar. And so it's like, if you know how it is, you get just a little behind, then all of a sudden you're done. And the problem is, the further you get from it happening to doing the editing, you don't remember as much, and then you have to watch it again to
Right.
do the so
Right.
like,
Exactly.
so today I was like, oh crap, I have 3 full episodes I need to get edited before, at least 1 before next week, but I want to get 1 a day done the next 4 days, so that so they're just done and out of the way, because I have more recordings coming, because I have my stuff booked through the 21st of June, and I need to
do yours once a week?
Yeah.
I
record, I have recording times so I could potentially record more than once a week, but I usually release once a week.
Right.
I have a rare weekend release coming this weekend, because I had a guest on who my episode was going to release the day after they were released on someone else's podcast that's in the same circle of people. And so I just said, I'm going to push yours back to give that one space, and then I'll push yours out. So, but then I didn't get my act together and get my other one out there right away. And so I'm just going to do a midweek release on that one, which will be interesting to see what a weekend release does, because maybe it's something I'll want to start playing around with.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone's releasing their podcasts on Tuesday through Thursday, or and they say the most viewed times, but sometimes I wonder, it's like, well, maybe if I do it on the off times, maybe it will or won't hurt. We'll see.
Right. You did just give me an idea though, because I'm going to start getting backed up. Like I've got 1 edited but not loaded, and I've got another one I haven't edited yet, and then I can't. Like I need to take notes after I do it if it's going to end up sitting there for a minute.
Right. Yeah.
About what I wanted to edit out, because like on one that I did, like my episode 2 that's out right now, there was a real chunk where I just looked like a real dipshit, and so I remembered, like, I'm going to go find that spot, because I started to say something, thought about it, thought that sounds weird, kind of said it, and then realized it sounded way too weird. So I went back and found it, but that would help to just make a note, like, oh, they said something that was really offensive, I better cut that out, or somebody coughed or whatever, I'm not a heavy editor.
Me either. And I used to do that when I was doing the audio only. I actually had a notebook, and I would make a note of, just even during the podcast, I would as possible make a little thought if there was a point that someone really highlighted or something I wanted to capture. But I can't do that on the video, because I'm in front of
right. Yeah. Well, it has taught me. I mean, doing a podcast really taught me how terrible my conversational skills are.
Oh gosh.
Just how to really ask the good question. I'll be learning till the day I die, but it is
definitely
a learning process. So
I saw this TED talk by somebody who's a a radio host who's interviewed a ton of people, and she was talking about how to interview somebody was the point of this TED Talk. And I only saw, it was like, I think what I saw was a TikTok clip of the TED Talk. So it was a,
Right.
2-minute clip of a probably 15-minute TED Talk. And I made a note because I want to go find that. But I also, not only that, I thought I really want to watch some episodes about how to be a good interviewer, especially now having done it for a couple of years. If I go back and relearn some skills or learn some new skills with the base that I have, it'll just help me elevate even more.
Mm-hmm.
And be aware of maybe there's some things I'm doing well, and maybe there's some things where I'm like, oh, I didn't realize I was doing that, and that might not be the best thing.
Well, and sometimes you're dealing with a person, dealing with Carol Freeman was super easy because she just knows how to tell a story and how far to take it and all that.
Right.
But then interview someone who's maybe not that used to being on camera or something, and it's a very different animal.
Yeah. And I don't know if you've had this happen. Have you had this happen where you'll have great conversations with somebody, and then in the moment of the interview, you ask them a question and they just almost kind of shut down of like, oh yeah.
Yes, definitely. This
I was like, it's like, okay, I felt like there was rapport and chemistry, but something about the fact that this is now an interview has their mindset.
Yeah. Well, that makes it all interesting, doesn't it? Anything that you wanted to talk about in particular today?
My big thing really is just this week, my focus, no pun intended, is trying to figure out how to be focused amidst distractions. And it's a constant for me because I have things with family, I have things with having 2 jobs, I have things with the business, plus anything you try to do in your personal life. And it's like, okay, I feel like I tend to jump all in on things, which means that I'm jumping away from everything else. And so I have to figure out how to balance that, where I say, okay, I'm going to jump in here for 15 minutes. Maybe I go all in, but then set a limit on how long I stay in that space, so I can then come back, catch whatever's starting to fall apart over here and pull it together. And that was this week. It was a little bit tougher because I felt like I was needing to take care of things in certain areas of life, and I just am watching things not necessarily fall apart, but just not get followed up on, not get taken care of on my business. And then my mind immediately goes to, do you even have a business anymore? Are you even, like the extreme, like way a space I don't need to go to, but your head goes to, well, you didn't do anything for the last 3 days, so you might as well close the door. And yet, if I would just, as soon as I pick back up and start doing a couple of things, you pick up where you left off, and it might take you a minute to get to the same speed, but it's really, each time it's faster.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm realizing with more things going on, adding another podcast.
Yeah.
Has added a lot, and it's like feeling like I have to keep on top of it, because if you neglect something for a day or two, then it's like this avalanche almost that comes down on you, like there's too much to do,
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like for whatever reason, I don't know why, the same thing, let's say you have this thing that's the size of a tennis ball that's sitting there that needs to be dealt with. The longer it sits there, the bigger or the heavier it gets. All of a sudden, it's like a bowling ball. Even though the thing itself didn't change, the only thing that's changed is the time from when it started. And I have to ask myself sometimes, how much of that is in my head?
Well, that's what I was going to say. A lot of that is just like, it's going to nag at me until I get it done. So that's the avalanches of my own brain,
Yeah. And if it's a lot easier to pick up a tennis ball and throw it 5 feet than a bowling ball. So the sooner I would deal with it, the easier it would be to deal with. And that's one of the things I was pretty good about really focusing on, was how quickly can I deal with whatever shows up on my plate. Even if it's dealing with it to where I'm saying I won't be able to deal with this until next week, but at least I let somebody know, so they know now I've kept it a tennis ball until next week it's still a tennis ball instead of, oh, now it's, 4 days later, like, really, do you know I'm here?
Yeah. Well, my systems are very chaotic, I gotta admit. Like, I'm doing really well. I'm gonna show you this, because sometimes that's part of the problem too. It's just actually the physical organization of things. But I
Right.
got one of these notebooks.
Oh, nice.
And so like the first section is a work hour thing.
Okay.
And then I have a section for scrutiny where I write down all our episodes and what the topics were so that I don't lose
Wow.
that.
Yeah.
And then the next one is internet how-tos. Like sometimes my computer will do something weird. And like the other day I couldn't paste into a Word document.
Yeah.
So then I have to look up like, how do I fix that? Well, then I just write them down here.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
you know how sometimes you can't remember, like, oh, I did that last time. How did I do that? So now I'm just writing them down so I remember how to do it next time. I got a section for all my passwords and then a section for my diary of an ex-ho. So that's nice that this is all in one place and it's always by my computer. But I always have notebooks like that with lists of to-do.
Mm-hmm.
But I have like one here and I have one probably in the dining room. And
Right.
so where did I write that? And then have to go search for the right notebook.
Yeah. I have my little black notebook, which I purposely like having the small one because I can fit it in my pocket if I need to. And the front to the back, each half page is just my to-do list for that day. So it's a half a page per day. And I try to only write the biggest things on there. But in that one day, it could be anything from something I need to do to help my parents to doing laundry for myself to following up on email to reaching out for something to going to the bank or the cash and carry or doing payroll for odd or working a shift there. So I found that I used to try to have like these different lists of what I need to do for all the different things, but I didn't have them in the same spot. And this way I can say, okay, between everything that's on my plate today for all my areas of life that I'm involved in, what do I realistically have time to do? And can I really touch all of those areas? And so that helps me really go, okay, well, I'm not going to have time to edit this podcast episode a day because I do need to go to the bank or I do need to buy chips for the brewery or whatever. And then it allows me to then say, okay, well, if it's big enough, I can look at those two things and go, well, these don't really need to be done until tomorrow, or I can swap what I need to swap. But then from the back of that book, I use as a notebook, and that's where I write ideas and come up with things or make notes. So it's all in that one little book. However, it's not always the most organized because in the back, I end up flipping through because I'm like, where did I have that thought and what do I need to write down? But
well, a lot of people do everything on their phones and stuff, and I just don't find that satisfying. I like to write stuff on paper, and I just don't get the whole.
Now I will use my phone. So I put everything in my calendar on my phone because people can schedule time with me. And if I don't have it loaded on my electronic calendar, it'll let them book an appointment at a time I'm not available. So like when I write out my to-do list, first thing I do is I pull out my calendar and I write down, okay, what shifts do I need to work? What appointments do I have? What things are hard on my calendar? And I'll put those in first. And then I sprinkle the tasks around them. But it's tricky. You have to have a system, and most people need a combination of systems.
Yeah.
Like we think one or the other is better, but it's really, you need both.
I need someone really smart and organized to just come help me. Is what I need.
I'm looking forward to being busy enough to need an assistant for some certain tasks. I'm looking forward to being able to hire someone to manage me.
I know, that's so exciting, isn't it?
Someone to say, you can't do that on Tuesday. You already signed up for this.
Right.
No, you can't do that. I need someone to tell me no or to say no on my behalf.
Oh, I want to say, we didn't do like the best thing that you watched or the best thing that you ate.
I know. So
I don't remember eating anything that great. Did I?
I don't know.
No. But I went and saw Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
Oh, you talked about that. You mentioned that. Yeah. So how
It was
was
it was really good. Did I already talk about this last week?
I don't know if you talked about it here or if we talked about it.
Yeah, no, it was good. And I would, if you were of the age, well, most people are, if you read the book and enjoyed it, then you will like the movie. So
Okay. I saw a movie the other day I've never seen called Psycho.
what?
It's Alfred Hitchcock. In this, I had never watched it. So isn't it Alfred Hitchcock?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I watched that, and because you hear like the stories or the
Did you
references.
watch the original old version?
That's what I watched.
Yeah.
The original old one.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. It's not at all what I expected. Bizarre show, and basically has that Twilight Zone, Alfred Hitchcock kind of feel to it. But I was just at home, and I don't remember what was going on, and I was like, I'm gonna watch Psycho. I think it popped up on Prime or something.
I can't believe that you've never seen it.
No, and that was had some bizarre twist to it, and it was quite the show. So I watched that. I don't know that I would say, oh, that's the best thing I've seen, but maybe the only thing I've seen.
It's got a slowness to it. They could have picked it up a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah. And those older movies had that slowness to it, but it just threw me off from the beginning because it started in a place where I was trying to put things together. Because I'm like, wait, what's going on? Is this going to be this and that?
Yeah.
And none of it happened the way I expected it to.
Right.
So it was good. I appreciate, watching some of the classics sometimes. So I did.
Well, he was great in it, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that was fun. Definitely add a little twist to my night whenever that was maybe a week or so ago that I watched that. But
something's cooking in our house. I'm not sure what. I can smell it.
Now I'm getting hungry. Outside of that, I don't know what the best thing that I've eaten lately. I've been actually doing a better job of eating at home, other than the one night that I stayed out later than I expected to and ended up getting a pizza and a pint of ice cream at 7-Eleven and making up for all of the good work I had done all week long. But
well, you tried, right?
I've been practicing. So here's the thing. I've been practicing putting myself out there a little bit more in the being willing to meet somebody situation. Like, I'm not like desperate to find anybody or whatever, that's what I'm supposed to say. However, I've been practicing just being a little bit more forward if I find somebody I'm interested in, or maybe if someone invites me out, maybe going out on times where I would normally be like, oh no, I'm not going to go party tonight or whatever. And I'm not even partying that hard, but just, seeing what opportunities the universe brings. And so there's that.
Right.
Yes.
That was that.
That was all that is.
Um,
But I have had some interesting experiences, which I am
yeah.
waiting to see how they develop. But it sucks playing the slow game. Like, I'm really trying to be good and just being like, oh, I met this guy, I'll see him again, or whatever. Right. They know where I hang out, or they have my number, and balancing pushing it forward in a non-desperate way, in a letting people know, oh, I'm interested, but also not being like the guy from Happy Gilmore. It's like, hey, Shooter, are we going to Applebee's after this? And when do we get to hang out? But so that's the space I'm living in. And like I said,
never watched Psycho, but you can quote Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny.
It's yeah. I watched a lot of that era, Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison. There was a time where I was up on all of those,
You know what we ate for dinner last night that I just made I just took those onions that you put, those
like the jerky onions.
the ones that you put in green bean casserole. I just took those and threw some flour in a bag and smashed them all up really good, and then took some chicken and dumped it, dipped it in egg, and then used that for the coating.
Okay.
It was really good.
Yum, that sounds good. Do you remember when it was a thing to roll chicken in cornflakes?
Oh, I never did, but yeah.
I remember that was a thing. I remember making that one time when I was a kid, like as a kid recipe,
Uh-huh. Well, that's what like this. It's like these guys won't eat anything that's too mysterious. But that was like simple. And then we just made some rice and some broccoli and
actually sounds really good.
A nice little dinner.
Yeah.
I told Dave we could have breakfast for dinner tonight.
Okay.
But he doesn't like to fry bacon. So I said, I'll fry the bacon when I'm done in here. So that's probably what he's doing.
Okay. Yeah, breakfast for dinner. That sounds delicious.
When you hardly ever do that I was always, remember as a kid, we'd always be excited, like, oh, breakfast for dinner,
Right. Yeah, sometimes you just want the eggs and pancakes and waffles and
well, because how often do you really eat that for breakfast? Like
that's the thing. It's breakfast food, but it's more often than not, you're not getting up that early and making
all that. No, I eat like every morning. We all have our own thing. Dave eats a Hot Pocket. I eat a bowl of cereal, and Andrew eats an Eggo frozen waffle and a sausage patty.
Okay, y'all got your.
We just all have our own little thing that we do every day. So
I will quite often have eggs for dinner. Like eggs are easier for one person to just like eggs and toast or something. So I'll have that quite a bit, but to have the full spread is a whole different level,
Mm-hmm. So. I remember when we first got married and I got that Belgian waffle maker for my wedding or my bridal shower. Yeah. And we would just have people over all the time for brunch. We'd make waffles and fruit and have my mom over, whoever, it was really fun.
Yeah, nice.
We don't do that anymore. We don't like anybody anymore.
I don't get to do brunch too often because it's usually I have events or meetings Saturday morning and then work that night, and Sunday I'm always working, so it's not like I'm not going to go out and do brunch where you're like drinking because I'm working afterwards. But also like I have a couple of my high school friends, we will every couple months we'll be able to get together for breakfast, and it's usually Sunday morning because we'll just go early before I have to go to work, and that's pretty cool because it's like see them, we get to hang out, we have like the full that's like my breakfast when I get the full breakfast time. Yeah, but it's not like the brunch idea where people are partying for brunch.
Right, but sometime though, we got to go to Vegas together and do the drag brunch that they have at Treasure Island.
Okay, that'd be fun.
Amazing. So
yeah, I've done the drag brunch a couple times at the Mix, and it's fun. It's they don't have like they bring the food. I think they bring the food. I don't know, but it's more about the drag show than the food for that event. But it's fun. But I've done that once or twice, and I would do that again. But I'm always working Sunday, so until I'm actually not working the two jobs, I have to always make that decision. Do I give up the income that day, or do I go so not only give up the income, but then go spend money?
Well, soon money won't be an issue. It'll just be free flowing. Exactly. Let's talk about this before we go. So I know, because I know you do this too. Listen to like hypnosis or what's the word I'm looking for? Manifestation things to go to sleep to. Mm-hmm. But then I always have this fear like that someone's going to be like, wait to that point when they know you're asleep.
Oh,
you're going to run a baby.
Yes. No, I've had that same fear of like, do I need to listen all 8 hours through this to make sure there's not like some negative subliminal message?
There's no way you can listen to the whole thing because you're going to fall asleep.
I know. That's why you have to listen to like an hour at a time.
But when we started listening to those, Dave was having nightmares. And he hadn't had nightmares since like when he used to drink when we first got married.
Yeah.
And then we figured out it was when we listened to the one that was for healing.
Oh,
So we don't listen to the healing ones now, and he's
I
fine.
was getting relaxed enough that it was opening stuff up that.
But I can't find a person or one that, like, I know I always like that one. I'm always trying to find one, but I just can't quite.
I have a couple that I like that there's a couple that I've listened to that I'll find partway through the night. I can hear them and then they become distracting and then they keep me up. And then I've had a couple that have been okay. There's one, this one guy. Hi, this is Alex from Mindful Meditation, and his voice is just like right there in
I
your
think
ear.
that's who I used to listen to, and then I somehow got diverted away. And there's
Mhm.
one lady with she's got maybe a British accent, and after a while you can't understand a fucking word she's saying. And then there's this other guy that's like, I get money, it comes easily
Yes.
to me.
Oh my
Like,
God, I know, it's so
he
robotic.
says it so aggressively that I'm like,
Yeah, I think I've listened to that one and it keeps me up because all of a sudden I'm like, thought I was falling asleep, and then pretty soon it's like, okay, I get it. I'll find some money. Like,
yeah. So if you find one that's really good, send it to me or something, because every night I'm like, I lay down and then it's like, oh no, can't do this one. And then I have to sit up, put my glasses on, because if I try to do it laying down, then my tablet turns.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah.
And I always had to make sure that my phone is charged enough before I start a video so that even with it plugged in, it's wearing it down as it's playing, because I don't want to not have my alarm go off in the morning. But
usually what I do a lot though is I watch a sitcom to fall asleep to, but then Dave gets like irate in the middle of the night when he wakes up, and I'm, then he'll be like, can you stop watching Bob Newhart for a while? So now I'm watching Cheers on the off nights but usually when I'm pretty much ready to go to sleep, then I do the meditation.
Well, they say that your brain spends most of its energy on whatever you are focusing on the last 45 minutes before you go to sleep. So that's one thing that's really, and one of the things with me feeling really scattered lately is I feel like I've spent too much time watching different reels or being exposed to just bullshit stuff. And so I'm trying to rein that in, because it is addictive, and it's a mind-numbing thing that when you feel overwhelmed, you're like, oh, I'll just do this.
Right.
But when I have watched one of those or listened to one of those videos where it's been the full 8 hours and I wake up with them saying, and now it's time for you to wake up and the lights are coming on, you're waking, and 5, 4, open your eyes. It actually feels so refreshing, and I have woken up feeling like I've had the best sleep.
Mm-hmm. I do those for naps. Those are great for an hour nap.
Oh, I haven't tried it.
60-minute, and there's a 30-minute nap and a 60-minute nap's the best, but then
I'll try one of those.
It goes ding ding, and then you feel pretty good when you wake up. So
nice.
But I will say, before next week, I am really reading an article and learning about breaking my addiction to social media.
Okay.
Because I find it's really kind of messing with my life right now.
Mm-hmm.
Too much focusing on negativity. So I'm really working on it. So I'm going to read this article, and I'm going to talk to you about it next week. So
I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be, I want to get on that bandwagon with you, or that, not bandwagon, but I want to get on board with that.
So I'm going to do the research this week, and then maybe next week we can have a plan of what we're going to give up.
Okay.
So if you want to do that with us,
join us.
Yeah.
But still watch and follow our stuff.
Yeah, just us. Yeah. All right. Love you.
All right.
Later.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.